Hey guys, Zach here. Now it's been a little while since I've put a knife video up, and I've gotten a bunch of different stuff in. I just have it backlogged to do videos on. However, I picked up this Ferrum Forge model number 2, the Deuce, last night, and it's just too cool to not get on camera right away. I've been finding that the more and more time I spend on Instagram, the more time that actually takes away from me wanting to do videos. Just seems like a quick and easy way to, to socially share videos and brief comments, but I wanted to take a little time and get this model number 2 on camera and kind of compare it to model number 1, which was the Pretium, which came out, I don't know, maybe mid last year, and then model 2 here, which again is the Deuce. Wanted to get this guy on camera this morning, give you some little bit of general overview, some specs, but really just to kind of show off the finishes and the work that went into this thing. Take a look at it here. Really just right at the top, fantastic blade. For the 25 of us that managed to actually score this, let me back up a little bit here for you. This was a run of 25 only, and I think it was sometime before Christmas, sometime late last year, when Elliot over at Ferrum Forge, he had posted in a video that he was going to do this model number 2, and there was only going to be 25, and originally he had done 100 of the Pretiums, and he didn't want to go down that route again because the Pretiums sucked his life force dry and so forth. But he was going to make this model number 2, and he started showing prototypes up on Instagram and on his YouTube channel, and kind of let everybody know that at some point he was going to be opening his books for a brief moment to take orders for the only 25 of these. So I kind of stalked his YouTube and stalked his Instagram for the weeks and weeks, and eventually somewhere along the line I found out that he was going to be opening his books via email, and that particular day, as soon as they opened it up, whatever time it was, I sent an email and I managed to get on the list. Well, apparently they weren't really fast, because I responded basically immediately, at the minute that the books were opened, and I ended up with number 20. So I know they sold out fairly quickly. So that's just kind of a little bit of the backstory on these. So they're not available unless you buy them on the secondary market, and I'm sure that they're going to be going for quite a hefty price for anybody that's going to be reselling. But let's give you some brief overview of the specs of this guy. The blade is around 3.5 inches, same as the Pretium, and the overall length is about 8.5 inches, if you could see that there. Now, how does it compare to the Pretium? It's very similar to the Pretium. If I get it on camera here, the thickness, the blade thickness, let me get it up here, as well as the handle slab thicknesses are almost identical. I mean, why really change up the formula of what works on a folding knife? So Elliot, of course, they're very similar. Very similar in size and weight. I don't have the exact weight, and I don't have a little scale here for you to weigh them, but they're very similar in all respects, except for, of course, the design. Now, the model number 2, if you managed to get one, and if you didn't, you'd find out that the model number 2 is about twice the price, maybe a little under twice the price that the Pretiums originally went for. And you might wonder why that is. Basically, what you've got is a difference from M390 blade steel to LMAX, and Elliot's LMAX is really good. He does his heat treat. He's kind of a mad scientist when it comes to heat treats. So I'm not bashing his LMAX in any way, but it's a little bit of a step up, in my opinion, to the M390, as well as you could see that the model number 2 has a custom pivot, anodized blue, with his logo there in the center. Lightning strike, silver lightning strike carbon fiber inlay, and let me tell you guys, this inlay is perfect. I mean, it is, I don't know what Jim Skelton would say, you could be a blind man could tell, this feels like this is all one piece. No lines at all. It's perfectly fitted. It really is quite fantastic. Some of the guys on Instagram that had gotten theirs ahead of me were saying how, how perfect it was and so on. And for me, I kind of always like to be the judge I kind of reserve my thoughts until I actually have a knife in hand. And I have to back up what some people have been saying. This inlay is just perfectly flush. It's just perfectly fitted. You could see here, let me get it up to the camera here. There are just no gaps. No gaps at all. It's fitted so perfectly. Some of the other nice things that kind of add to the price on this is the whole frame, the edge of the frame, and some of the pics you'll see online, you may not see this too easily, is actually, it appears to be orange peeled, anodized blue and orange peeled, or whatever order they do that in. But it's kind of an orange peeled finish and anodized blue. I mean, all the way around. And if you look here at the lock bar insert, which I believe he said is also M390, you could see that you kind of get a two-tone right there. The lock bar insert being the silver, and the blue ano right there. It comes right up the edge. Bunch of really nice little design touches on this. All of the edges are nicely chamfered or kind of rounded, and the anodize, the blue, covers just that edge just ever so perfectly. Take you around here. You can even see here the counter bore for the screws is actually anodized as well. Same back spacers as what you've seen on the Pretium, just a general round stainless barrel style back spacer. You can see the lock bar cutout actually has a nice little groove cut in it right here. Of course, the relief portion of the lock bar is hidden, so it gives you this really nice clean side here. The screws on the pocket clip, you notice, are also hidden. Just gives you a really nice lock bar side, really clean. Mine is number 20. You can see that there. Same as on the Pretiums, the serial number, he kind of has this little pocket milled out, and then he has the number stamped in there. You look at it now. One thing I've noticed, and if you've been following the Pretiums at all, you'll know that every one of them, since they are handmade by him in his shop there in California, every one of them is a little bit different. You'll notice that the swedge on mine is a little bit different from some of the other ones you're going to see pictures of and maybe videos of popping up. Mine is a nice, subtle, straight cut swedge. Some of them have a swedge that cuts up and then has a little bump out right here at the upper portion. It's just really nice to know that each one he makes by hand. So every one of them, since they are handmade, are going to be there's going to be slight variations, and that makes each piece kind of unique. You can see the screws inside there for the pocket clip. Real nice jimping. Elliot does jimping really well. It's not too aggressive, not too weak. Your hand just kind of falls right onto it there. Just a beautiful knife. You can see the finish on the blade here. Kind of a really nice, even satin finish. Came hair popping sharp, which same was with the Pretium. And that's something you shouldn't really have to mention necessarily, but a lot of knives, especially custom knives, seemingly they could be so beautiful and so perfect in every way, but then they actually don't come as sharp as you might expect them to come. Which isn't an issue for any of us that sharpen our own stuff, but it's that last little attention to detail that kind of lets you know that your maker cares. So let's put them up here, butt to butt. You can see they're almost identical in length. The two knives are almost identical in width as well. Both fantastic knives. Both of them using a lock bar insert with the Hoback rolling detent. And let's take a look at the flipping action here. Just perfect. I think somebody on Instagram said that flips like a raped ape, and that's a perfect perfect way to describe the flipping action on this thing. This particular one, the Model 2, rides on ceramic bearings. I know the Model 1, the Pretium, rides on bearings. I'm not sure if they're ceramic bearings or not. It too flips very well, but the model number 2 it flips quite a bit harder than the Pretium does. At least mine does. Very, 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 very smooth. It came a little bit stiff, to be honest with you, but I did a tiny adjustment on the pivot and put a little lube in it, and now it's just fantastic. You know, perfect detent, perfect action. You know, for those that want to see if it can close on its own. Of course, I just got this last night, so it isn't completely broken in yet, but yeah, you can kind of wiggle it and it will close on its own there. I could not be happier with this knife. I could not be happier. This was well worth the wait. I'm really, really, you know, really happy that I managed to get on the list for the first 25 of these. I know when pictures and stuff start hitting YouTube and on Instagram and on the forums that guys are going to be seeking these out. Kind of my goal, at least if I can afford it anyway, is to try and collect each model as he puts one out. So if you've been following Elliot at all, and I'll put the link to his website below and a link maybe to his YouTube channel. He's got a model number 3 plan, which is kind of a larger, I think it's a 4-inch blade, a chisel ground, sort of a Warncliffe-ish design. And from what I understand, that particular model is going to be solely distributed through Blade HQ. So I'm going to have to be keeping an eye out for when that pops up and see if I can't get that. So at least I have the first 3 and kind of have my Ferrum Forge model run trifecta completed. I know he's got all the way up to model 6 planned through the summer, so he's not slowing down at all with some of the ones he's putting out. And they're going to be at all different price points. So you're going to want to kind of, if you want to get in on obtaining any of his work, you kind of have to really pay attention to both Instagram and to YouTube, because these limited model runs are going to go fairly fast. I don't know if there's anything else that I failed to mention here. If I did, I'll annotate it later, but just fantastic. Really nice choil, really generous choil. For me, I really appreciate that. I love choils in general, but if they're small and you've got a sharpened edge all the way back here, you can get a little bit close to cutting just a little bit of your finger fat there, depending on how big your hands are. This one, though, of course, very generous. You have, you know, in a nice tight grip, you have plenty of space there, plenty of relief, so you don't have to worry about getting your finger. How that compares to the Pretium, you can see the Pretium is quite a bit closer, not as generous of a choil. You can see what I mean there. If you really get up to your second knuckle here in the choil, you can nick a little bit of your finger right here. Just fantastic work, though. I'm just going to give you guys another look at it here and then jump off. I'm sure you've heard all the rambling that I have to ramble about this knife. So Elliot actually had emailed me last week, and he emailed me a picture of my knife with a little bit different swedge, kind of a swedge that was quite a bit deeper, that had kind of gotten away from him a little bit. And he said, you know, what do you think of it? If you hate it, I'll make you a new one. If you like it, I'll send it on. And you know, I said, well, you know, I don't really like it as well as some of the prototype picks. I like the subtle swedge a little bit better. But I said, in the spirit of not being nitpicky like some collectors tend to be, and I get it, we're spending a lot of money, we want a certain product, but I'm not an overly nitpicky person when it comes to these things. So I said, if you think, I kind of put it back on him, if you think that it looks okay, because it's hard to tell from the pictures, send it on and everything will be cool. Well, the next day I got an email back saying, well, I had a blank and I didn't really dig the way that was looking, so I redid yours. And that kind of just goes to show that, you know, the guy cares about his customers. He's not just churning out knives to make a quick buck. You know, he cares what his product looks like, how it flips, and what other people think of it. I know he doesn't really partake in forums and so on, but you know, these are his creations, these are kind of his babies, so he wants them to be, you know, somewhat perfect, and I can definitely appreciate that about him. Give you a look here at the centering. Perfectly centering, dead nuts. Look at how fine that tip is. And finally, the lockup. The lockup is crazy early. Crazy early. Might be the earliest lockup of any knife that I have, actually. But no wiggle, no left and right, no up and down, and that's kind of what you expect on for a folder that rides on bearings. At least the left and right, usually there's not much, because you can crank down that pivot pretty tight and it'll still flip. But that's about it, guys. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions or comments, go ahead and leave them below, and we'll talk to you later.